Let's go, guys. Google has been spying on us for decades, building algorithms that rule our discourse, deciding what we get to see or not based on profit and shareholder value. Search neutrality is a long-abandoned concept at Google. It's time we strike back. This time, we do it from the inside. We'll use the algorithm to fight the algorithm.
We use the stones to destroy the stones.
We're going to make Google delete itself from the internet. The goal is to make YouTube recommend videos about Google alternatives to as many people as possible. I'm doing my part, making those videos, but your help is required. This is what you can do to help. Make sure to watch this video till the end. Watch time is a key metric in the algorithm to recommend videos to more people. Then like, comment, and share as much as you can. Let our voices be heard loud and clear.
Apes together, strong!
So what's the problem with Google? Well, there's so much to unpack here, but it revolves around two broad categories: too much data collection and algorithm bias. The value of your searches is immeasurable. Seeing your searches is the closest thing there is to seeing your thoughts without a brain scan. People tend to have this misguided idea of, oh, I'm not important, nobody is interested in what I do, or I'm not doing anything wrong, therefore I have nothing to hide, or I'm okay with data collection because I get relevant results. But that's not how any of this works. It's not just about what data they collect, but also what they do with that data. Google goes great lengths to link every single search you make to your real name, and for a good reason. They want to create a perfect record of your search history that they constantly feed the AI to predict your future behavior. These predictions are building a profile that is used as a universal measure of your worth as a customer or even a citizen. It's what enables insurance companies to direct their pricing or plans to maximize their profitability based on your risk assessment, not on your need. It's a prediction model that tells hotels, banks, or even employers what kind of a person you are and determine their action accordingly. What Google knows about you quietly impacts your everyday life. It is extremely detrimental. Essentially, Google builds your profile to rank your behavior. Whatever you do inside the alphabet empire contributes to your score. But this is a one-way mirror. You don't get to see how Google's proprietary algorithm interprets your behavior, which then impacts how service and retail industries treat you as their customer. All you can do is feed the algorithm more data. And it's not just what you type in the search bar. The empire is literally everywhere you go. Google is cross-referencing data points from millions of sources on your phone, browser, and the rest of the internet, even those that were never made or had anything to do with Google. Its trackers are present in third-party apps on your phone, websites on the internet, and even other devices. You would never know this unless you knew where to look. Any Monday website you visit most likely has Google code in it, so even if you leave Google search or don't use any front-end Google product, you can still be bound to Google's terms. The empire's policy will still apply to you. Your search records are correlated with data points like what apps you have on your phone and how you use them, what's your employment history, or even your income and bank statement, how active you are on social media or interact with your contacts. Your location, ethnicity, background, or political affiliation are all helping Google build a window into your mind through your search queries. And I'm not even scratching the surface. Changing your default search engine is one of the most important steps you can take to take back your online privacy. But Google can't be replaced by anything that's not Google. The policies of Yahoo, Bing, or Yandex are pretty much the same, if not worse. But the arrogance of the tech giants has made way for privacy-focused search engines to emerge and disrupt the market. DuckDuckGo, Quant, and Startpage have made the most headlines so far. Their business model is based on showing non-relevant ads that are not personalized to user profiles. In practice, you'll only see ads related to the theme of your search query and nothing else. If you search for cars, you get an ad for cars. Search phones, you'll get ads on phones. This model is sustainable and much more ethical. It makes money, but it doesn't require companies to hoard user data to monetize their free service. These search engines are not tracking users across the web, do not install tracking cookies on their browsers, and do not log user search queries. Because of this, they also provide results that are much more neutral. Search neutrality is an essential concept that Google has long abandoned, but it's another reason why you should delete Google from your life. Google is not a search engine anymore. You see, a search engine would show you the internet as it is, giving you results based on the most accurate match between your search query and the relevance of the related internet content. This is not what Google is doing. When you search on Google, what you see is not the real internet. It's a simulation. It's an AI prediction based on what Google thinks make you want to stay on Google instead of moving away. The goal is to keep your attention on the platform, not to find the most relevant website you should go to. You can see this easily when you compare how far you had to scroll to see organic results on Google versus on other platforms. Let's use the same search term from the same IP address for Google and DuckDuckGo. While both give the most prominent real estate to ads, DuckDuckGo devotes space for the first organic result on the first frame of the page, way before Google, where it appears at the bottom of the second frame. Let me remind you that this is the first search result. So why would you have to scroll through a page and a half to find it? How much you have to scroll to see the first result is subject to your screen resolution, but how far down Google is willing to push organic results can be objectively quantified in the number of pixels. According to research conducted by an SEO marketing firm Moz, in 2013 the average ranking of number one search began at 375 pixels, with the worst case scenario of a number one search being pushed down to 976 pixels. In 2020, this worst-case scenario became the norm. Almost 17% of all number one searches in the 2020 analysis were pushed lower than the 2013's lowest number one search result. In 2020, the worst-case scenario for the lowest number one search result came at almost 3,000 pixels. This isn't the case just for some niche, cherry-picked examples. The broader picture is a clear trend of Google's long-term strategy. The average number 2 result doesn't usually appear immediately after the first, but several hundreds of pixels later. Google fills in the most valuable real estate of the front page with so-called search engine results page features, such as video carousels, instant answers, featured snippets, or other Google products. You may find this innocent, but this is how Google was able to get away with manipulating its search results to crush competing products or manipulate the discourse without facing any serious punishment for potential antitrust violations. This is how Google Chrome, Gmail, YouTube, Google Reviews, and many other Alphabet products quickly garnered dominant market positions. But thanks to the stubborn existence of more neutral and open search engine platforms, we can compare what Google's search results would look like if they were still true to their roots. Let's look for some email providers. This is what you'll find on DuckDuckGo, a standard layout, ads first, content second, with no attempt to make authoritative answers. The first organic result is just a regular top 10 article, a beautiful example of search neutrality straight from a textbook. Now let's do this on Google. Scroll down through the ads until you see not organic results. These are not ads, and they are not Google products either. It's just a random list of email providers based on no obvious metric. At the top of the list is ProtonMail. Gmail comes second. But why? ProtonMail doesn't have more users than Gmail or even Yahoo. Who decides what gets to be on this list? Why are open source encrypted providers ranking alongside ad-driven proprietary email monopolies? This is what I would call Google hand-hodling. Google doesn't want you to read a review article. It wants to keep your attention. That's their biggest capital. So look further. If you open the first option from the people also ask, you'll get an excerpt from a Tech Radar article that again ranks ProtonMail on top. But there's not an article you'll find on top when you search for what is the best email service to use directly. If you open up that search term separately, you'll get a list of where Gmail is first, followed by some other mainstream options with ProtonMail at the bottom. So how did Google decide to use a different list for the same question? The issue is that Google developed this hand-hodling approach because it doesn't want to let you go off the platform. But because Google has been facing severe antitrust investigations by governments around the world, facing fines and possible breakups of the company, creating these random lists of products is a good cover they can use in their defense as examples of giving spotlight to competing products. But that's a ruse, because the problem isn't just that Google ranks its own products more prominently than it ranks the competition. The problem is also that Google is monopolizing user attention inside their ecosystem. Google is not a search engine anymore, it's an experience. By trusting this approach, you allow Google to dictate what you should think about the internet rather than doing your own research and think critically about your sources. Google wants you to accept its search as an authority, ready to answer any question you throw at it expertly. Google shouldn't be doing this. Yes, it is convenient, but a search engine shouldn't be playing the role of academic research, literature review, or investigative journalism. Search engines should point you to the direction of people doing that research or investigation. A corporate AI cannot replace academic institutions or news organizations. There is no such thing as an unbiased algorithm. What you see in a search engine shouldn't be determined by the company behind it knowing your location, religious beliefs, emails, or socio-economic background. And that is precisely how Google, Yahoo, or Bing operate. And that is precisely how DuckDuckGo, Quant, or meta search engines do not. Binary choice isn't a solution to this problem. It's best to use multiple search engines rather than sticking to one with a blind loyalty. It's important to know that you can choose to keep your searches private when you need to and switch between providers whenever you want. If you made it this far, great job. You've done your part and hopefully learned something new. Feel free to support my channel through my crypto wallets, channel membership, or become a patron. We are just getting started.
Apes win war!